Hey, welcome to my channel. This is Death Skittle. I want to talk about when you have a mental illness and there are things happening in your life that are like legitimate concerns. But it can be skewed because if you have a mood disorder like depression or anxiety, people won't often take you seriously, or you might not take yourself seriously. For example, I've been having some issues with my flatmates and they've been quite aggressive. And I felt very scared over the last couple of days. But I'm like, am I overreacting? Is this because I've gone off antidepressants? Is this something to do with the moon? And I think maybe partially it is those things. I'm definitely a lot more sensitive off my antidepressants, but I feel that I need to listen to my instinct. And in this case, I'm starting to feel unsafe. So I'd like to be able to figure this stuff out easier. It's kind of hard to talk about this because I do feel like I've got brain farting, my brain is under a lot of stress at the moment and I'm not articulating things the way that I want to. And this is another thing that happens when you have things like depression or anxiety and cognitive burnout. But what's interesting is when you talk about low mood with people and then on top of that having emotions that could be legitimate, it's hard for people to believe you. My specific example would be I told my dad what had happened, but a couple of days before that I'd been speaking to him about low mood, so he kind of had jumped to a conclusion that I had behaved irrationally or unfairly, and that's why the run-in happened between my flatmate and I. But that wasn't the truth, that wasn't the story, and he had to talk to another person who heard the incident to believe me, and I had to speak to him about it too. Having a mood disorder, you do learn how to deal with emotions in a lot more sensible way than often people who don't have a mental illness will deal with them. So a lot of people will get angry and behave in irrational ways and hurt other people because they don't know how to deal with their anger. And that's not necessarily a mental illness, but they aren't aware of how to deal with their emotions. When you have a mood disorder, you learn how to deal with your emotions. So if you're getting treatment, you'll start to learn that. And I felt that I was dealing with it appropriately, and that emotions have reason, and mood disorders can skew those reasons. But if there are legitimate concerns and reasons behind things, then you should listen to that and your instinct. And it's quite hard to know what your instinct is, and when I have the answer to that, I'll post it and I'll tell you guys my answer. But in this case, I was feeling unsafe. I still feel unsafe. And I don't think that we should ignore those feelings. Like, regardless of whether you have a mood disorder or not, you should definitely listen to your feelings and then logically put them against each other. Like, is this a logical reaction to something? Am I feeling this way because of something, or am I just feeling this way? Like, for example, I have been playing lots of gigs with my bands, and we've been doing quite well. Sorry, brain fart. And I should be happy about that, and I graduated my degree, and I got a new job, and I should have been happy about all of those things, but I wasn't. And, like, I'm thinking that's just part of coming off antidepressants, having that bad first few months. I'm not entirely sure whether it will go away, or whether I'll have to relook at going back on them. But I wasn't able to just celebrate those things. And that's not a very logical thing, so that would indicate a mood disorder. But in saying that, if someone is acting aggressively towards you and you get upset or depressed about that, like, that's not so much a disorder as a normal reaction, and the people in your life should regard it as such. I think we need a bit more trust around people with mental illnesses. We have to listen and trust their feelings on things. Those are my thoughts on that subject today. Hit the subscribe button if you find my stuff interesting. Have a good day.